It's Friday, August 18th, 2017. I'm your host, Lynn Poyant. We have a great show for you today. First up, we'll chat with Sarah Ward from Hosteling International about the Angeline Crocker Hinckley Hostel on Ocean Street. We'll view a piece from the Cape Cod Lifesaving Competition that was held in Wellfleet last week, and we will visit with Animal Control Officer Charlie Lewis about bats. All of that and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's take a look at today's top headlines. During Town Manager Mark L's communications at last night's Town Council meeting, Recreation Director Patty Machado previewed a pilot program that will begin in September for Barnstable Intermediate School students. The structured program will run from September 25th through December 8th and will include transportation from the intermediate school to the Hyannis Youth and Community Center and include an afternoon school snack. Also, at last night's meeting were a presentation by Cape Cod Technical Regional High School Superintendent Robert Sanborn, as well as a presentation by Lindsay Council, Chair of the Water Resources Advisory Committee, regarding the Wastewater Management Plan. More information about those presentations will be included in future segments of Barnstable Today. Up next, we'll chat with Hosteling International's Sarah Ward.
So Sarah, thank you for sitting down with me. I have never been over here to the hostel in Hyannis. Very exciting to take a tour and see what it's like. I think that I've always had a preconceived notion of a hostel, and this just blew that out of the water. Tell me a little bit, if for someone who's watching who hasn't been to a hostel, tell me a little bit about what hostels are like now in the U.S.
Sure, absolutely. So there's a lot of misconceptions around hosteling being an animal house or being sort of like the horror movie that was published in the United States, which didn't help our cause any. But hostels are in fact a way for people to have an intercultural exchange and to meet people that they wouldn't otherwise have normally. So it's a very affordable way of being able to have a bed, yes, to rest your head at night, but also to enjoy things like a communal kitchen and communal living spaces. So you can interact with tons of other people, and it's a blast. It's an absolute blast.
And you never know, you might run into someone who's here from another country and really expose yourself to some interesting cultures, some different people. And you were telling me before we sat down for this interview about how hostels even provide activities at times for guests. Tell me a little bit about that.
Right, so Hosteling International, we're the only hostel organization in the entire world, meaning we're the only hostel that is a nonprofit. So we've been around for over 100 years. Hosteling International started as American Youth Hostel here in the US in the 30s. Before that, it was actually a way for German youth to go out and see the rural countryside. So they would bike from hostel to hostel as a way to experience more than what was outside of their cities. So here at hostels in the US, the tradition still carries on. So part of the amenities that we offer that differs us from other hostel organizations is we offer, yes, amenities, you know, fresh coffee, things like that, but we'll also offer experiences that will help you socialize with our guests. So marshmallow roast, here we're in front of our fire pit in Hyannis, volleyball games like our games we have in Martha's Vineyard, walking tours like we have at our hostel in New York City, our pub crawls that are very popular in Boston among the student population, and those are all put on by locals. So we're always looking for local people from each community where hostels are to come and experience the intercultural exchange happening and to be ambassadors and to showcase their fine towns, communities, and cities. So they'll actually accrue volunteer hours with us, and then they can add those up for up to 5 hostel overnights per year, any of our participating hostels in the US. And we have over 55 locations and over 9,000 worldwide. So there's so many opportunities to hostel.
Wow, how cool is that? So you can volunteer to earn yourself some nights and take a trip and explore other parts of the country that you may not have seen yet. What a cool opportunity. Yeah. You know, when I think of a hostel, I used to think of, I had in my mind like a bunk bed scenario, like a dorm room, but this is really not always like that. I mean, yes, there are some shared spaces, but there are private rooms as well that are very economical, and families take advantage of this as well.
Absolutely. We have families, we have Girl Scout troops, we have baby boomers, seniors, couples. And the nice part is, like, we're not asking you to do the traditional hostel stay necessarily. It's 2017. People need their space. We have competitors like Airbnb and, you know, not necessarily the hotel industry because we're at a much smaller price point. But we do have hostels with private rooms, with ensuite baths too.
So cool. And I was looking at some of the rates are really affordable, $35 per person during the week, and then this is in the summer, of course.
Yes.
And then on the weekend, $40 per person. If you had 3 individuals, you could stay in a private room for $109. It's such a bargain.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, we just have so many of these beautiful locations that people can go and experience that they never otherwise would have. I honestly had never been to Nantucket in my life or been to Martha's Vineyard. I never thought I would be able to afford something like that. That was just not me. But it is. It's affordable, it's accessible, and to many and to all.
How can we find out more information about not just the hostel here in Hyannis, but about other hostels across the country and in our region?
So I'm your regional engagement manager for the Northeast. So the hostels in the region span Hyannis, where we're sitting, Eastham, Truro, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, and then Boston as well. That's the 3rd largest hostel in our network. New York City, which is the largest in the Western Hemisphere, and then Tibbetts Point, New York. But you can check out our website to see the other hostels around the country. Like I was telling you earlier, we love to retrofit old buildings. So if you ever want to stay in a lighthouse hostel, we have that. A firehouse hostel, we have Victorian mansions, all sort of really funky things. So the vibe is much different at all different locations. So don't just go to one, go to as many as you can.
Yeah, you gotta try and catch them all. So cool. I know an event is coming up that is really interesting. This is happening in September. It's the International Day of Peace. What is this event about?
Absolutely. So HIUSA celebrates 4 signature programs per year. The International Day of Peace is by far my favorite because this is a day in which we really celebrate peace as it was adopted by the United Nations, and that was just a few years ago. So that looks different in every hostel location. We have some sense of unity in terms of like the color lighting that we'll have. You'll notice that the hostel will be lit up here on Ocean Street in blue. So that's in celebration of the peace being the color blue. But our programming will look different all around the country. Here in Hyannis this year, we're going to be celebrating the local arts and culture by bringing guests to events that are taking place in the community. In Nantucket, they'll be doing Reiki for Peace, which is an Eastern modality of healing. But it could look very different. Blues for Peace, things of that nature. There could be peace conferences in DC or in New York. We've done some really heavy educational components to that, some advocacy as well. So it's a really fun thing that we celebrate, and it's celebrated around all of our hostels throughout the world in over 90 countries we're in now, so which is really exciting.
Wow. Is there anything else you want to make sure our viewers are aware of when it comes to hostels? Anything you want to maybe correct or get out there?
Absolutely. We're a community institution, so we want to make sure that you know that we're here for you, not just for tourists. We're here because we're a nonprofit, and we want you to help us spread our mission. Our mission is to help all, especially the young, gain a greater understanding of the world and its people through traveling and through hosteling. So what better way to do that than to actually go out and have fun and to come and visit a hostel and to help us do that by meeting some of our guests. And I know they'd love to meet you, and so would I. So please come down. We'll give you a tour anytime.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate it. Learning all kinds of new things about the hostel here in Hyannis and hostels all across the country. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun. I appreciate it.
Our guest today, of course, Sarah Ward. She is the Northeast Regional Engagement Manager for Hostel International.
Barnstable Recreation's aquatic staff competed in the Cape Cod lifesaving competition held in Wellfleet last week. We share our in-depth coverage of this unique event.
So Patty, it's just an absolutely beautiful day out here for the Cape Cod Lifesaving Competition. How many years is this?
We started in 1975 with just the surf beaches in 75, and then since then, 1976, and up to today. I can't even remember how many, 30 something. But I competed, so it's got to be closer to 40 now that I say that, because I was in the first event in 1976. So
Wow, what was your event?
swim rescue.
And how does it feel to come back now, all those years later, still be coming to this event? Is that pretty cool?
I'm thrilled that we're able to continue to have this. There was talk eliminating this, but we fought like heck. And the town of Barnstable staff all the way back have been great in making sure that this still continued. This is such a valuable event to prepare the staff every single day to drill. You know, there's incentive for them to drill. Even if you don't make the team, you can try out and you can compete to make the team. So that in itself keeps all the lifeguards up to snuff. You know, we do a lot of training, but this adds to it. So they're continuing to train outside of the actual training that we provide. So it's huge valuable. They do this all on their own time too. Our team, Barnstable, comes in the morning. They don't get paid for this. They actually come and drill every single day over and above our training and donate that time so they can make the comp team. So there's a lot of pride in being a part of this team.
Why do you think they're so driven, even though they're not getting paid? Why are they so driven to come and train extra hours and really make it happen for the team?
I think they take such pride in being the TOB. We call them a TOB family. They sincerely are. Those that aren't even here are part of this team. We represent them all. In our past, all our legacies, we have lots of legacies that work for us, so their families have actually competed in this, and it's a big deal. It's a real big deal for our town.
And we do pretty well. I mean, the last few years we've done well. I know there are two divisions. Talk to me a little bit about the divisions for the different lifeguards.
So we have two divisions. The A division is the surf beaches. So this is obviously a surf beach. You get some serious wave action, and lifeguarding in this kind of facility, actually, this kind of water changes the rescue a little bit. The staff down here have to be certified also in surf rescue, and we're not. So non-surf beaches are all the rest, of which Barnstable is a part of. But we do very well up against the NERC. I mean, we just came in third in the swim relay. That's awesome. Swim relay with all the other towns, pretty awesome.
So many times, too, if there was ever an incident, I've interviewed lifeguards after they make a rescue, and every time I hear how they are so prepared and how they feel that all of this preparation and training really does put them in a good place. So like you said, it's also practical and not just about the competition.
No, it's really, at the end of the day, they're all waiting for that rescue to happen, and they know that they're qualified in order to perform what they need to do. And that's what you want, is at the end of the day, when they go out, they know they can do it. So there's confidence built in. We spend a lot of time making sure they're prepared to build that confidence up. What's nice here is they actually get to compare themselves and see their skills and where they actually fall Cape-wide. And actually we have Maine here as well. They came down to compete and have for the last few years. So it gives them a little bit of understanding of where they're at, what they could learn, plus they get to know other towns and what they offer and how they operate, and it helps them improve. They're like, oh, they do this. Today there's going to be, there's a new jet ski that's out, and they're going to be doing a demo on it to see if other towns are interested. Yarmouth got this new, it's Ski-Doo, and I think Sandy Neck. When we look at this today, I really think this is something that we could really use at Sandy Neck Beach, because it's 7 miles, and this would make it easy to do that rescue if something happens outside the regular swim area.
Yeah, and looking at everybody around, it's currently lunchtime, looking at everyone, sort of bonding. Is this also a team building day as well, and does it kind of bring the team together and make everyone bond a little bit?
Well, very nice that last night they had a pasta dinner, and so it brings the team close last night to prepare them for today. They get closer. After this event's over, actually, we will take the kids down for their dinner. We'll go down to P-Town, and many of them have never been down there. So it'll give them an opportunity to actually enjoy, revel in their day and share stories about what happened today. And they'll relive it forever. We want this to be a memory that they take with them, that they can always look at and have a fond memory of working for the town of Barnstable.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patty. So Alex, this is a really fun day for everybody. How long does it take you guys to train and prepare?
We've probably been preparing for the last month, maybe a month and a half or so. I believe the tryouts were like 4 weeks ago, and then we've been having practices maybe like once, maybe twice a week, I believe.
What's your favorite event to participate in?
Oh, it has to be the swimming. Nothing else. Has to be the swimming, no matter what it is. It can be the swim rescue. I've done that before. This year I'm doing the swim relay and I'm doing the Ironman relay swimming, but I cannot do anything else.
Now tell me, things were restructured a little bit for the Cape Cod Life Saving Competition this year. What's different?
So what they did is they combined some of the relays. For the swim relay, the paddle relay, and the running relay, instead of having a guys event and a girls event, they have just co-ed, so they have 2 and 2 now. And so now you just pick the best 2 guys and the best 2 girls, and they go in the same relay. And I like it a lot more. Honestly, it makes the event go by, or the whole event go by a lot faster. And also, I believe it's more competitive because it's a lot easier to find 2 guys rather than 4 guys, especially for the smaller towns. And I think all around it just makes it a lot better of a competition.
How many years have you participated in the competition, and what makes you want to participate?
This is my 3rd year, and honestly, I just really like the competition. It's really fun to do. Being here all day, it's better than working for sure. And we also go out as a team afterwards, and we get dinner and hang out a little bit. So I really enjoy that too. Just being with the people, and the competition is nice.
Do you feel that all of the training, I know you guys do training sessions every week anyways, then there's additional training for the competition. Do you feel like that really prepares you to be a lifeguard in the event that there was a rescue?
I'd say even without the training, we're all pretty much prepared to make a rescue or do what we need to do. All the lifeguards, at least at Barnstable, are very well trained, and I have confidence that they'd be able to pull it off even without the training, the additional training that we do for the competition.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add about the competition today?
Well, for any lifeguards out there, I'd encourage everyone to at least try out or come down and take a look. I think it's really fun to do, and it's a great time. Get to meet people and see old faces, new faces. It's just a great time, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Today we have the pleasure of bringing in our Animal Control Officer, Charlie Lewis, who's going to talk to us about all things bats.
Bats are my favorite subject, one of them,
Are they really?
outside of rabies.
Okay.
And rabies is what makes bats so important. Probably in any bat colony, it's like 0.01 to 0.05 that could have rabies.
Wow.
So if they're in the house, obviously that's always an issue. And what happens if they decide to bite you during the night when you're sleeping, it's like a mosquito bite. You just brush it off. You wouldn't even know. So it's important that if they're flying around and you wake up, that you call us. And we will go out during the night and get them.
Okay, so I mean, my sister and her family have just encountered a bat scenario in their home, and it's definitely something that people have to pay attention to and eradicate as quickly as possible.
Correct. With the exception of during the month of May, it's good to extract them, and then August through maybe mid-October. But between May, the end of May and the first part of August, they have their young.
Right.
So if you try to evict them, the young are not able to leave yet.
Right.
So you'll have an awful smell in your wall. Plus, they're federally protected.
So when you get a call for a bat, what is it that somebody notices in their home that says, oh, we may have an issue here?
Usually it's because somebody wakes up and bats flying around. They're sleeping.
Okay.
Or when they first come into the house after dusk, you know, they may have left a door open, bringing groceries in, or something like that. When you leave your outside light on, the bugs are going to be there naturally, and that's where the bats come in.
Okay.
We've, in particular, this week alone, I've sent 4 bats to Boston to be tested at the state rabies lab.
Wow.
And that's because they were in the people's homes. And I never question it. I always ask a couple of questions. Has anybody been, had a glass of wine or anything for dinner? Have you fallen asleep watching a baseball game? Recreational drugs, type thing. If anybody says yes, I'm going to test that bat, regardless of what else they may say. If they wake up to it sleeping, then I'm going to test it. If a child is in the room, I'm going to test it. If there's a pet in the house, I'm going to test it.
How long does the state lab take to return the results to you?
Usually within 24 hours. If, for instance, yesterday we sent 2 bats at 6 o'clock, they were put on the truck to go. And they will arrive at the state lab sometime last evening or first thing this morning. And they'll be tested today. And normally I will have the results at 3:30.
Wow, that's great. So then you're able to notify the homeowner.
Correct.
What next steps that they have to do. And if you take a bat away, should they automatically contact their primary care physician or someone to put them on notice that something has happened?
I don't suggest rushing right to it.
Okay.
I wait until we get the results back. The one thing I will say is that if the bat is flying around, it's very easy to capture. If you keep them flying, they'll get tired, they'll land down where you can throw a towel on them. You can pick it up and put it in a small container. Or if you have a very thick glove, no cotton gloves, you can just grab it and put it in a can with a, like an old coffee can.
With holes in the top because you don't want it to...
No, don't care if it's got holes or not.
Okay.
They'll survive.
Oh.
And in fact, we euthanize the animal.
Okay.
And when we send it. So it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
What is important is that no one hits it with a tennis racket or a broom or anything like that, because what they'll do is literally knock the brain out of the bat. And when that happens, it can't be tested,
Okay.
or it comes up as what we call a false positive. And the potential then is, do you get post-exposure shots or not?
Wow.
The whole thing about testing is to avoid the shots.
Right.
And that's why it's important to, get them fairly quick. And, if they're on a curtain, what I do is I take a tin can, my coffee can,
Mm-hmm.
I just put it over it, and then I slide
lid
my
underneath.
hand behind it. If it's on the wall, I slide the lid behind it.
So you've had 4 this week, so this is the season. There's an uptick in activity, and so basically everyone should be on the lookout.
Yeah. What happens this time of year, the bats are in the most of the time they're in an attic space. As it gets warm, it turns around and they go in deeper into the walls. Then they somehow find their way into the living quarters.
Wow.
That's how we generally get the calls for them.
Well,
So,
there's always so much to learn from Charlie and our animal control staff. We want to thank you so much for coming and talking to us about bats today. We look forward to seeing you again in the near future. And for Barnstable Today, I'm Lynn Poyant. Now let's find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Vietnam Veterans Moving Wall is now in Wareham. It is a half-sized replica of the Vietnam War Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. The monument contains the names of more than 50,000 American service personnel who died in or because of their service during the Vietnam War in the 1960s and 70s. The opening of the wall was held last night and will be on display throughout the weekend with the closing ceremony at 10 a.m. on Monday. There will be a ceremony on Friday and Saturday night at 7 p.m. and on Sunday at noon and 2 p.m. The town of Barnstable was host to the moving wall a number of years ago, and it was worth a visit to experience it firsthand. The wall will be exhibited at the Anderson track adjacent to Wareham Middle School on Viking Drive until Monday. The 27th annual West Barnstable Village Festival will be held from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, August 19th. A full day of activities is planned, including a classic car show, crafters and artisans, face painting, kids games, fire station house will be open, meeting house farms, and the Railroad Museum will have activities, and so much more. Rain date is planned for Sunday, August 20th, if necessary. The Massachusetts Breast Cancer Coalition is hosting their annual swim, kayak, walk, or run against the tide event on Saturday, August 19th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. at Nickerson State Park in Brewster. For more information and to register, go to www.mbcc.org/swim. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be back on Monday with another great show for you. On Monday's show, we'll chat with Director of Student Services, Gina Hurley, about social emotional learning and what Barnstable Public Schools are doing to make sure that happens. Then we will visit with Director of Golf Operations, Bruce McIntyre, about the updates of the Hyannis Golf Course, and we'll check in with Cape Cod Community College's Communications Director, Michael Gross. For Barnstable Today, I'm Lynn Poyant.